The aroma of my favorite food assaulted my nostrils, and I slowly opened my eyes. I found myself on the couch. I looked around, trying to figure it all out. I realized I fell asleep in the living area while working on a project. What time is it? I mumbled with the usual frown on my face and checked my phone. It was 4 am. I didn't feel the urge to get up from the couch and finish my sleep in my room, but the sizzling sound from the kitchen area made me curious. My sleepy, trembling steps led my half awake body to the kitchen area where I saw a familiar feminine figure, my mother. I was supposed to go back to my university dorm in Seoul and I thought she was cooking for me. To be honest, I felt overwhelmed. Mama, I found my voice little husky. You don't have to. And I was cut off right away. Why? What do you mean by why? It's 4 o'clock in the morning. You must complete your sleep. You need to rest well, even though I don't know if you are taking a day off today. I uttered with concern, and she smiled. When? You are going to be a graduate, a big girl. I frowned mentally. And it's Seokjin's birthday, my mom uttered, and my expectations scattered into millions of pieces. I kept standing there with my usual poker face while she was busy with the food. It's his birthday and his mother is not in the town. I wouldn't have prepared this food, but you are going back today, so I thought, my mom uttered, and I sighed. The innocent baby boy shouldn't feel alone on his birthday. My mom knew that I have never talked to them since I have entered into the university. Flashback when I was, or we were, both I and Seokjin Oppa was in the elementary and middle school. Their family used to own a pet dog. I wanted to pet a dog like they had, but as my dad was diagnosed with minor infections in his lungs, so he was prescribed to stay away from furry pet animals. I kind of understood the situation. I used to play with the dog from far away. The dog was cute. I knew I couldn't cuddle him, but I could cherish our not so long distance friendship. One day I was caught by none other than Seokjin and that made me insecure. What if he proves me as an ungrateful daughter? No, he did nothing, and that made me feel more and more insecure. It was his last day at the middle school when I finally could get the chance to vent my anger. I was 2 classes younger than him, so my little brain thought we were never going to see each other, and on his way back home, I attacked him. I knew he was regularly attending taekwondo classes that time, but still, I desperately attacked him. And that day, he let me to vent all my anger. I don't remember whether I could even punch him properly or not. Probably not, but after that 2 minutes fight, I felt satisfied. Also, didn't forget to threaten him to shut his mouth up before I went to my home, or we went to our respective homes. I know, I was stupid. But after entering into the room I was provided, my jaw dropped as I saw him shifting his things to the room that was almost adjacent to my room. Our houses were different, but our rooms were closer. So close that I could go inside his room through the Dutch windows we still have. I realized I wasn't stupid, I was fool. I felt kind of humiliated, though he didn't even look at me to feel humiliated or witnessed me feeling like that. A drop of tears escaped from my eyes before I shut down the Dutch window for the last time. Reality hit me as my mother called me in the sweetest tone I have ever heard. She loved Seokjin. It wasn't her fault.
And not only she, everyone used to adore him. He was a brilliant student with sharp facial features, humble behavior. To be honest, he never irritated me as a neighbor, as a senior, but I don't know why I feel a cold layer between us. That was the first time when I was going to be confronted with him. To be specific, for the first time, I was going to meet a boy. My mom informed me that he had outpatient department duty that day. She also told me that she had already informed him that I was going to meet him. Yeah, I had put on a irritated kind of poker face, but I was fully aware of the drum rolls emulsified with my heartbeat. The car finally crossed the university gate and a sigh escaped from my mouth. I knew where the outpatient department was. On the way to the OPD, I took my phone and touched on the contact list. Kimsel Chinappa was written on my smartphone screen, and I was hesitating to touch the green collar button. As I stepped inside the hospital, I saw people with different colored uniform were working in a sink. A few people were waiting in the waiting area, probably waiting for their turn. I sighed and enrolled my name. The receptionist politely asked, "Which doctor do you want as your physician, Miss Park Van?" I smiled. "Dr. Kim Seok-jin." Finally, after good 10 minutes, I heard my name being announced. I got up and asked one of the uniformed staff, "In which direction should I go?" I handed him the cue card that the receptionist gave me. The staff took me to the glass walled cabin. I was standing outside the cabin, but I could see him. He was busy with a patient. To be honest, it was a feast for my eyes. I was dragged into the reality as next word hit my eardrum. I took silent steps and stopped where patients should stop themselves. "What's your name?" He just raised his head when I answered, "Park Van, I'm here to deliver you something." He paused for a few moments. Might be used that moment to examine my existence in front of him. That time, I could point out him struggling to suppress his chuckle inside his throat, and as a result, his Adam's apple bobbed. "I have a few more patients, probably two or three. Will you wait for me outside?" I nodded silently and stepped out of the OPD section. The hospital smell was kind of suffocating me, so I preferred to wait for him at the outside lounge area. I didn't want it harder for him to find me, so I shared my location with him. While sharing my live location, I randomly guessed that he probably had my number. "Follow me." My thoughts were interrupted and I stood up instinctively. I followed him without uttering any question. In spite of carrying the heavy backpack and bags, I didn't feel it tiring. I just wanted to follow him. I felt kind of hypnotized. His aura was that strong. He finally stopped and I followed his motion, or his motionlessness. He still didn't utter a single word, just gestured me to get in. Right after I entered into his dorm room or his 1 BHK apartment, my nostrils were comforted with a familiar aroma. Sensing a few motions, I looked at the carpet and found Chinoppa offering me his only pair of slippers. I mean, it was awkward. "The floor is extremely cold," he spoke while heading towards his room. I was instructed nothing. I slipped my socked feet inside the slippers and waited there for him, only breathing and probably scanning the whole area. I could hear the sound of shower, assumed he might be getting a refreshing one. After some time, the sound was stopped and I heard the doorknob being unlocked. A fresh smell enriched the whole apartment. Felt like it was the aroma specifically defining him. And soon he stepped into the living room. What are you doing there? Come. He gestured me with sweetest smile. I nodded and was about to step into the living area when I heard his soft voice again. Hang your overcoat there, right beside mine. You are coming from hospital after all? I nodded. Though there was another layer of fabric between mine and the overcoat, still I felt like it was awkward. I thought he might be busy doing his course or something, but as I turned, I found his eyes were fixed on me. Though his ears were all red, but he didn't avert his eyes. Oma cooked some food for you. I broke the silence. He gestured me to put the food on the kitchen counter and eventually busied himself plating the food on the dining table. He quickly took a few photos and indicated me to heat up the foods. I did as he was getting a call. I could hear his side of conversation, probably his mother. I never noticed him. I never had the courage to raise my face and look at him. It was me who was coward. But when I finally could look at him, he was looking like a fine piece of art, a fragile one. I was cherishing the features of the boy next door. He could see I was reheating all the dishes one by one, and just a few seconds before the microwave's final beep, he disconnected the hob. I was about to open the microwave oven's door when I felt his warm appearance. He was standing right behind me. I could feel the goosebumps. When I almost shivered silently in my place as he broke the silence. Happy birthday, Oppa. I tried to speak fluently, but I stammered. He nodded with a smile in appreciation. What are you waiting for? Let's dig in. We both started eating. I was a picky eater, so I particularly picked the dishes I liked but skipped the shrimp as he was the birthday boy. I guess he noticed that. When he wanted to start a conversation. What are you doing? Consciously, I looked at myself. I knew I was eating, but I was sure that he didn't ask me that. I raised an eyebrow in confusion. Study? I'm a university student. In which university? He asked me while shoving an amount of food. We are registered under same university with a surname. I'm pursuing arts though. I started feeling comfortable with him. Means you were here for the excursion. He raised his eyebrows. No, I stammered. I mean, yes. But it's not compulsory for everyone. You could skip the trip in case do you have any boyfriend and you are planning to spend some. He was speaking in unison, but he is still my neighbor and he shares a very good relation with my mother. I could say yes in spite of not having a boyfriend just to attend the excursion, but I had to answer no. My voice was mixed with utter disappointment. No, I didn't have any, but I wanted to have someone. I mean, that was the right age. You mean you were single? Why? He definitely smirked while asking me this question, and that time the sarcastic woman with broken humor woke up. Yeah, I was waiting for you to ask me this question, and as I needed to answer you a no, I felt like I was getting comfortable with the man whom I had been avoiding forever. Oh, he smiled. You must focus on your studies. By the way, in which department are you currently pursuing your studies? He asked while eating. Arts? I replied almost immediately, and he backfired me with the toughest question I have ever been asked. Why? I gulped down as I never imagined to be asked this question. I thought I will be able to express my views in the most artistic way. I managed to form a fancy sentence and he smiled. The excursion has been rescheduled. Oh, I thought he pranked me. I acted like I was pranked. I was wearing my shoes as I was about to go back to my dorm. He just came and sat on the sitting arrangement on the portable shoe cabinet as I wished him for the last time. Happy birthday, Oppa. Where is my birthday present? He chuckled. I knew, but I just forgot to bring one. If we will meet again, not accidentally, I mean, I would definitely bring something for you. I'm sorry, Oppa. I apologized. It was late at night, so he decided to accompany me to my dormitory as it was in the same campus.